Two buddies went on a celebratory dive in the Monk Seal Cave after receiving their professional cave diver certification. They chose to dive for an additional 32 feet, mesmerized by the grandeur of the depths before rising. She discovered that her friend, who had been in front of her on the ascent, had not ascended when one of the divers ascended. With a remarkable length of 524 feet, Medvedina Spilja, also known as Monk Seal Cave, bears the prestigious honor of being the longest cave located on the magnificent Bisevo Island. In honor of the presence of these amazing species, this stunning cave takes its name from the alluring Mediterranean monk seal. It is delicately perched on the edge of the stunning Tresjavik Cove at the southernmost tip of the island in the region known as Biskop. The cave's magnificent entrance, which rises to a whopping 88 feet in height, gives the impression that you are entering another world. The longest partially submerged sea cave on the eastern side of the Adriatic Sea is accessible through this corridor, also known as Poseidon's Gate. But starting in the 1960s, monk seals in the Adriatic Sea started to disappear. These magical creatures have just recently made a miraculous comeback to the Adriatic waters. These caves were chosen by the monk seals to call home, and they serve as their favorite spawning grounds. A small boat can be used to visit the cave for tourists and scuba divers. Especially at certain times of the day, guests are welcomed inside by a stunning show of light that begs them to witness its full splendor. However, the cave gradually narrows after traveling about 131 feet, preventing any further boat investigation. Dive companions Haley McCarthy and Stacy Lyam developed a unique bond via their common enthusiasm for learning about the undersea world. When they came into contact while obtaining their open water diving certification, their journey began. They remained friends after that, encouraging and supporting one another as they pursued their diving dreams. Haley and Stacy made the decision to pursue their cave diving certifications together as their diving training advanced. They agreed to go on an exceptional joint exploration dive. They choose to travel to the well-known Monk Seal Cave because of its beauty and significance. Haley and Stacy departed for Monk Seal Cave on their privately rented tour boat on the designated day. They reached their destination and were prepared to start their diving expedition at 2:32 p.m. Haley and Stacy prepared themselves with their diving gear in hand, making sure that each item was properly fastened and in working order. They wanted to dive down to a depth of 98 feet. Haley went with two separate 12-liter cylinders, one of which was filled with Nitrox 27. Haley carried stage cylinders with various gas mixtures in addition to her primary cylinders for decompression. For a safe return to the surface, she had Nitrox 40 and Nitrox 80 in these cylinders. Stacy, meanwhile, had decided on a rebreather as her diving gear. Trimix 12/60 was the diluent chosen for Stacy's rebreather configuration. She also has a bailout gas cylinder with Nitrox 28 inside of it. Due to the fact that it becomes darker inside, they took dive flashlights with them. To explore the depths of Monk Seal Cave, the two inhaled deeply and dove into the water. The environment around them changed slightly as they started their descent. The water's tint darkened, and the ceiling of the cave stretched above them. The underwater landscape was enthralling, with no silt deposits to impede vision, thanks to the hard ground underneath them. They were able to see the beauty that was concealed in the depths thanks to the water's clarity. They stopped at a depth of 13 feet for a bubble check, a safety practice to make sure there were no air leaks or equipment failures, to make sure their equipment was working properly. Finally, they descended to the desired depth of 98 feet. Haley and Stacy made the decision to continue their exploration after becoming mesmerized by the beauty of the underwater environment. They nodded in unison and descended another 32 feet into the depths. Haley and Stacy communicated to one another that it was time to begin their ascent to the surface and follow correct decompression procedures. They abruptly realized they had deviated from their intended dive path after climbing for a distance of 16 feet. They had to maintain their composure and pay close attention to their surroundings. To get back on course, They carefully examined their map. They sighed with satisfaction as they eventually managed to return to the right path. A delayed surface marker buoy, DSMB, with a little amount of gas within was deployed by Haley, who was on an open circuit system, around 32 feet further along their path. Divers often carry out this task at the end of their dive. A DSMB is used to announce their ascent, while also serving as a visual landmark along the line and indicating their exact location for the surface boat to watch. Additionally, it performs the vital roles of enabling decompression and assuring successful execution of safety stops. Stacy deployed her own DSMB and continued her rise, having ascended around 18 feet from their previous point. Stacy observed Haley had managed to situate herself about 6 feet above her after successfully deploying the DSMB. Stacy was driven to close the gap between them, so she accelerated her ascent in an effort to catch up with Haley. To Stacy's surprise, it was clear that Haley was climbing at a faster rate and was outrunning her attempts to close the distance. When she got about 82 feet from where they started, Stacy made the conscious decision to slow her rise. Stacy made the decision to continue her rise at a steady rate in the hopes of catching up with Haley, reasoning that Haley would be visible along the line of the DSMB, delayed surface marker buoy. She believed they would collide at a height of about 12 meters or 39 feet. Stacy saw that she and her friend had become separated as she steadily descended to a depth of 39 feet, but she had followed the appropriate decompression stops to guarantee her safe return. Stacy surfaced and returned to the dive boat after completing the requirements for decompression. She wasn't expecting to see Haley up there, but since she was utilizing an open circuit system, her decompression requirements would have been higher. Stacy focused on Haley's DSMB, which was propped up and had about half of it immersed. After around 35 minutes since emerging, Stacy began to feel increasingly worried. In order to see if there were any identifiable bubbles that would offer information regarding Haley's location, she asked that the boat come closer. Sadly, despite being closer to the boat, no bubbles were visible. Stacy was concerned for Haley's safety and whereabouts as a result of this. Stacy put on her gear once more and dove back into the water, determined to find the DSMB, which was about 65 feet away. Stacy's eyes found the reel as she swam closer to the DSMB, but Haley was nowhere to be found. So she had no alternative but to climb to the surface and alert the boat's crew to her friend's absence. A further complication to the developing enigma was uncovered once the reel was recovered. Some 22 feet of the line had been unspooled. The dive boat captain quickly took action, sending out a mayday call and initiating a thorough surface search, while also sending out a distress signal. 6 boats in total, including 1 RNLI lifeboat, banded together in a coordinated attempt. They combed the vast surface in an effortless quest for any indication of Haley's presence. The anticipated sight of Haley rising from the depths did not materialize despite the arduous search. Due to this, 2 experienced divers were sent into the water to conduct a search and rescue operation. As they dove deeper, they continued to search until they came across Haley's lifeless body, drifting around at a depth of 72 feet, a sobering confirmation of the destiny that had befallen her. The waiting lifeboats stood by as they observed the tragic turn of events as her body was painstakingly pulled from the depths and brought to the surface. When the rescuers looked at Haley's diving equipment, they saw that all of the gas cylinders were still full and the regulators were working as they should, which made them wonder what caused her premature death. Haley's deceased body was respectfully returned to the shore with broken emotions. She was evaluated by medical professionals, and it was discovered that she had had a heart attack. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you liked what you saw, please click the like and subscribe buttons and the bell icon to be notified when we post another thrilling cave diving story.